Hi. I think I'm missing something. That's better. Starting on the Dodge today.
Oh, I'm so awkward.
So today we have a customer's 1936 Dodge D2 sedan. It's got a flathead straight 6 in it and a, as far as I can tell, 3-speed floor shift standard transmission. We have a pretty short list on this, at least for the time being. I haven't really dug into it yet. The main reason it's here is for the rear main seal, which I'm anticipating to be a wild pain in the ass because, as far as I can tell, it's 2 pieces of wax-covered rope. Outside of that, we have spark plugs to do. The customer said something about the oil canister, this guy, potentially leaking. I also noticed that the exhaust manifold, which is cast iron, is cracked, so I've got to get that off and bring it over to Micro Weld here in Rhode Island to have him patch that up. I'm sure I will run into other issues, but those are the 4 things that we're starting with. I'm going to start with the rear main seal because I know that that's going to be the biggest pain in the ass and I want to get it out of the way now. So first thing I got to do is get this thing up in the air so I can get underneath it, and I can't put it on the lift. I don't know where to jack this thing up from. I'm going to assume that right there is fine, because that's a big beefy piece of, I think that's the front axle. That should be okay, right? Right? Okay. Shake test here. Okay. All right, let's crawl underneath this and see what's what. All right, so what I'm seeing on the back of what I assume is an access panel is some prop rivets that look like how some part of the rubber seal goes in. So I'm gonna pull this off so that I can get a better look at the back of the pan. I have a feeling I'm going to have to drain the oil and drop this pan, which looks like somebody has done before, judging from that guy. And some not period correct looking hardware. So let me get this off and we'll take a peek at what's going on here. Yep, there it is. Too many projects to finish. Huh. Okay. Oh. Okay. Time to reevaluate. Well, I've had to go and do some reading, and unsurprisingly, this has turned into a big old pain in the ass. This Dodge passenger car maintenance manual, garbage. Actually gives me no information. Now this, however, the 1936 to 1942 Dodge passenger car condensed master parts list, I'm actually getting more information out of this via extrapolation than I am from this. Oh, I might have to pull the transmission out. So these seals are what I got to replace. This guy right here, these two pieces of rope. What I didn't know is that this piece is actually a retainer for that sits into, I assume, this groove on the rear main bearing cap. In order for me to have access to the bolts here that hold this plate in, I have to pull the transmission, the clutch, the flywheel, everything. And then honestly at that point, I might as well pull the oil pan and take this cap off as well, to try to, I mean, maybe not, who knows. I might be able to do all the things, but there are seals that are the bearing cap gasket that I assume are for this and fit in that little piece there, so I might as well pull that off. So my step now is to call the customer back and say, hey, how much money do you want to spend on this? Because this is about to get very labor intensive. I had the owner of the Dodge come down and take a look at what I found and what I was feeling like the correct step would be to solve the problem. It's kind of both more than we both want to do. So what we kind of decided was that I would do my best, and then that's it. So I'm going to drain the oil, drop the oil pan, and see if I can get, at a minimum, the rope pieces in place, and see what happens. So I'm going to need a big oil pan. Ow! And, yeah. Ow! Okay. All right. Got a little bit of a seal stuck here. Good God! Oh. Jeez, I'm right. All right. So it looks like, oh, okay. Well, I wonder then. So I need to take this guy off, this whole bearing cap here, and it looks like that plate's going to come with it, so I should be able to replace one of those seals. There we go. Okay. Now could you just come off, please? Thank you. And take that nut off. And then get off the ground for a little while. Get out from underneath this godforsaken car. Oof. Woo-wee. Okay, let's take a look at this on the bench. All right, so here's the main bearing cap. This piece of rope in here, the customer already replaced himself, but as far as I know, he did not take this seal off, and there's no rubber lip here anymore. So there's two of these. There's one on the cap, and then there's one on the case. I don't have access to get the one on the case off because of this top bolt here. The crank, the flywheel, all of that's in the way. So I'm going to replace this one and the gasket that goes behind it, reuse this rope in here, and then I'm going to attempt to get the new piece of rope in the piece that goes above this on the case. I've already warned the customer that the likelihood this is going to seal is pretty low because it doesn't have that rubber piece there. That really needs to be replaced too. But we don't want to pull the transmission out, so we're not going to. Something else that he didn't use because he didn't get it for whatever reason in the original seal kit that he got for some reason, they didn't include the cap seals that go in here. When he ordered that kit a second time, the same kit from the same distributor, it came with rope seals and these little corner seals and pan gasket and all that. So I don't know, but so I'm going to replace. There's a rubber seal that goes in each corner here. I just got to clean these channels out, and then replace this, and hope that will go back in. So I'm going to spend some time cleaning this out, and then I've got to scrape all the pan material off the case, as well as trying to get that piece of rope in there. So I'm going to start scraping away on this and see what happens. Let me clean this up now, and we'll reassemble this and get the seals here in the corner, and then I can get underneath the car and start struggling with that. Put that pick in there, maybe. So grab onto it that way. I didn't rip it too much. I think I might have. Oh, I can't get the round part on because flywheel bolts are in the way. The round part, the closed in, idiot. Oh no, it's not really working, it's just me. Just making a bigger mess. Alright, Alright, I'm gonna stop filming so that I can get irritated with this alone. Hi, tonight on How to Give Yourself a Massive Migraine, we'll be pulling the transmission out of this Dodge D2 to do the remain seal. Alright, it's the next day. See if I can get some light here. It's the next day, and it's time to start pulling this guy out. The whole gearbox. This drum here is actually the parking brake mechanism. It's basically a big old drum brake attached to the drive shaft. So I'm going to spend some time taking pictures from as many different angles as I can for all this linkages for the parking brake and the shifter and really anything that's attached to the box. As far as I can tell, it looks like the box is bolted to the bell housing, and the bell housing is bolted to this cross member. So I'll probably take the box off of the bell housing and then work at trying to get the bell housing out and supporting the engine and everything. I bought a support bar to go over the top to hold the engine in place while I have the bell housing out. So I'm going to take some pictures and then I guess transmission removal montage. So, I've got the transmission out and all the other things that require me to pull the transmission out except for the bell housing. Apparently, in order to get the bell housing out, I have to pull the clutch and the flywheel off first because the dowel pins that locate the flywheel are so long that the flywheel basically gets in the way of the bell housing. So I have to figure out how to pull the clutch and the flywheel off from inside the bell housing, so then I can get the bell housing off and do the rest of the thing that I need to do. Unfortunately, what that means is I have to figure out how to rotate the engine, because I have the engine supported by ratchet straps to a support bar, and I don't have an oil pan on right now, so it's directly on the crank. Once I start rotating it over, it's just going to lock up on the strap, and I can't support it by the flywheel because I have to be able to turn it. So it's the end of the day. It's taken me the whole day to get to this point. So I'm gonna call it for today, get some rest, and noodle on it overnight and see what I can come up with for tomorrow. All right. It's now a third day, and I'm still on the Dodge. Big surprise. I think I figured out how I'm going to be able to rotate this thing over while it's on the engine support bar thing. So I'll let you know the things. So the oil pan on this thing is actually pretty sturdy. So I put that back on, and I've got the strap going underneath that, and that leaves the flywheel free, and it should allow me to rotate the engine the way I need to. So I'm going to start pulling. I think I have to get the rest of the release fork out first, and then I can start doing the clutch bolts. So I've got the flywheel bell housing and the clutch off, and this is what I'm left with. Oh, I'm pretty sure that's part of the crank, so I don't think I'll be able to get that off, but it does at least give me top access to those bolts to do the seal. So I don't know if I got a place to put the camera for you to see that, but it's going to be very similar to how I did the one on the main bearing cap. It's just going to be, you know, upside down and behind this flange here. So I'll see if I can get the camera set up so that you can watch me get annoyed by this also. Okay. So I was getting ready to put the other rope seal on, and thought, you know what? I'm pretty sure this is an updated version that does away with the rope seal. So I called the company that my customer bought these parts from just to confirm, and it is an updated seal. So you can see if I can set this up here, that channel is very different. It's a little bit lower, it uses rubber. So I've already swapped it over on the main bearing cap, so I've got to set this up, get some schmoo on it, new gasket, and then I'll install this on the engine, and then we can, you know, get the cap in. Tripping over all the bits. Okay, well, I've got that top half of the seal in. Now I've got to put the cap on, and then it's a lot of cleaning, finding all the bolts, and reassembly, which to be perfectly honest with you, can't be filmed, so I'm not going to, which means this is the end of the episode. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a like, leave a comment, share with your friends, and you know, I'll See you for the next headache.